typical cost for commercial work figured by square footage varies based on several factors. These include the geographic location, the overall size of the project, and the inherent complexity of the tasks involved. A standard pricing range for commercial baseboard heating installation utilizing either electrical metallic tubing or aimed or metal-clad cable or MC cable falls approximately between $3 to $5 per square foot. This pricing normally includes the expenses associated with materials, the cost of labor, and overhead expenses. Several additional considerations are crucial when preparing a bid for commercial projects. Firstly, the project's physical size is very important. Larger scale projects might allow for a reduced rate per square foot because of economies of scale. Secondly, the intricacy of the work significantly influences pricing. If the project demands considerable customization or adheres to specific, unusual requirements, the standard square footage rate requires appropriate adjustment. Thirdly, the project's location plays a role. Labor costs and the accessibility of materials can fluctuate depending on the specific geographic location of the project. To create a precise and competitive bid, it's vital to gather as much detailed information about the project as possible. This information includes the exact square footage of the area, the complexity and scope of the work needed, and any specific requirements or potential challenges the project might present. Consulting with other contractors in the surrounding area can also provide valuable insights into prevailing pricing for similar projects, ensuring your bid remains competitive and realistic. When considering the cost of materials, it's important to factor in the price of the baseboard heaters themselves. These can vary widely depending on their heat output, length, and brand. You'll also need to account for the cost of the NT or MC cable, connectors, junction boxes, and any other electrical components required for the installation. Labor costs will depend on the number of electricians required for the job, their hourly rates, and the estimated time it will take to complete the installation. Be sure to factor in time for tasks such as running the wiring, installing the baseboard heaters, making electrical connections, and testing the system. Overhead costs include expenses such as insurance, permits, and equipment rental. These costs can vary depending on your location and the specific requirements of the project. When bidding on commercial work, it's essential to provide a clear and detailed breakdown of all costs involved. This will help the client understand the value you are providing and increase your chances of winning the bid. In addition to the factors mentioned above, it's also important to consider the energy efficiency of the baseboard heaters you are proposing to install. Energy-efficient heaters can save the client money on their energy bills over the long term, making them a more attractive option. Be sure to research the different types of baseboard heaters available and recommend the most energy-efficient option that meets the client's needs. Also take into consideration potential challenges such as working around existing infrastructure, dealing with asbestos or other hazardous materials, and meeting strict deadlines. Be sure to factor these challenges into your bid to avoid any surprises down the road. Finally, remember to include a profit margin in your bid to ensure that you are compensated fairly for your work. A typical profit margin for commercial electrical work is between 10 and 20%. By considering all of these factors, you can develop a comprehensive and competitive bid for commercial baseboard heating installation. Remember to be thorough, accurate, and professional in your approach to increase your chances of winning the project. Understanding electrical codes and regulations is also important. Ensure that all work complies with the National Electrical Code, or NEC, and any local codes. This may include obtaining permits and inspections. Familiarize yourself with relevant NEC articles such as Article 424, which covers fixed electric space heating equipment. Staying updated on code changes and best practices is crucial for safe and compliant installations. Consider the voltage requirements of the baseboard heaters. Most residential baseboard heaters operate at 120 volts or 240 volts. While commercial systems may use 208 volts, 277 volts, or 480 volts. Ensure that the electrical system is properly sized to handle the load and that the correct voltage is supplied to the heaters. This involves calculating the total wattage of the heaters and determining the appropriate wire gauge and circuit breaker size. Use NEC Table 310.15b16 to determine the ampacity of conductors based on their size and insulation type. For example, a 12-gauge copper wire with THHN insulation can typically handle 20 amps at 75 degrees Celsius. However, diverting factors may apply depending on the number of conductors in a raceway and the ambient temperature. Proper grounding is also essential for safety. Grounding ensures that any fault current will safely return to the source, tripping the circuit breaker and preventing electrical shock. All metal parts of the baseboard heating system, including the heater enclosures and conduit, must be properly grounded. Use a grounding electrode conductor of the appropriate size, as specified in NEC Table 250.66, to connect the grounding system to a grounding electrode, such as a ground rod or water pipe. Also consider the control system for the baseboard heaters. Thermostats are commonly used to regulate the temperature in each zone. Programmable thermostats can provide additional energy savings by automatically adjusting the temperature based on the time of day and occupancy. In commercial settings, building automation systems, or BAS, may be used to control the heating system. These systems can provide centralized control and monitoring of the entire building's heating and cooling systems. Inspect the existing electrical system to ensure that it is in good condition and can handle the additional load of the baseboard heaters. Look for signs of damage, such as cracked insulation, loose connections, or corroded components. If any problems are found, they should be repaired before installing the new heating system. Use appropriate wiring methods for the installation. EMT is a rigid metal conduit that provides excellent protection for wiring. NC cable is a flexible metal-clad cable that is easy to install in tight spaces. Choose a wiring method that is best suited for the specific application and that complies with all applicable codes and regulations. Securely support the EMT or MC cable to prevent it from sagging or becoming damaged. Use appropriate hangers and supports that are designed for the specific type of conduit or cable. Ensure that the supports are spaced according to code requirements. Make all electrical connections in approved junction boxes. Junction boxes provide a safe and convenient way to make connections and protect them from damage. Use appropriate connectors that are designed for the specific type of wire and conduit or cable. Tighten all connections securely to ensure that they are mechanically and electrically sound. Test the completed installation to ensure that it is working properly and that all safety features are functioning correctly. Use a multimeter to check the voltage and current at various points in the system. Verify that the heaters are producing the correct amount of heat and that the thermostats are controlling the temperature properly. Also test the grounding system to ensure that it is functioning correctly. Provide the client with detailed instructions on how to operate and maintain the baseboard heating system. Explain how to adjust the thermostats, how to clean the heaters, and what to do if there is a problem. Also provide them with a copy of the wiring diagram and a list of all components used in the installation. Follow lockout/tagout procedures when working on electrical equipment. This involves disconnecting the power supply and locking out the circuit breaker to prevent accidental energization. Tagout procedures involve placing a tag on the circuit breaker to warn others that it is being worked on. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, when working with electricity. This includes safety glasses, gloves, and insulated tools. Avoid working in wet or damp conditions, as this increases the risk of electrical shock. Be aware of the potential hazards of working with electricity and take steps to minimize those hazards. By following these safety precautions, you can help to prevent accidents and injuries. Consider the environmental impact of the heating system. Baseboard heaters are generally considered to be less energy efficient than other types of heating systems, such as heat pumps. If the client is concerned about energy efficiency, you may want to recommend a different type of heating system. Properly insulate the building to reduce heat loss. Insulation can help to keep the building warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer, which can save energy and money. Seal any air leaks to prevent drafts. Air leaks can let warm air escape from the building, which can increase energy consumption. Consider the use of renewable energy sources, such as solar panels, to power the heating system. This can help to reduce the environmental impact of the system. Properly dispose of any waste materials generated during the installation. This includes old wiring, conduit, and packaging materials. Recycle materials whenever possible to reduce waste. By considering the environmental impact of the heating system, you can help to create a more sustainable building.